The following episode of Spoilers for Days was released on the GR8 M8S Podcast on March 25th, 2019.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Welcome back to Spoilers for Days, which is a mini-series here on GR8 M8S Podcast. If this is your first time listening to us, or the 1000th time you're listening to us, we are a bunch of young Australians who usually talk about our lives here in Australia and pop culture on the internet. You've caught us in summer season, which means we do things a little bit differently, and this mini-series is evidence of that. Spoilers for Days is what it says on the tin. We talk about shows we love, and there'll be lots and lots and lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched any of the shows that we've been talking about for the last few episodes, go and binge them, have a good binge, have a good cry, have a good laugh, and then come back and listen to our banter, discussion, predictions for future seasons as well. So yeah, I am Josh, and with me is Nick.
Howdy, everybody.
So we are discussing the last 4 episodes of The Good Place, Season 3, which I believe is chapters 36 to 39. And yeah, this also means it's the end of our Good Place spoiler cast for now. But I guess we'll just get into the monologue, eh?
Shorty ho.
So, once again, dear listener, please strap yourself in. In Janet's void, the humans all turn into Janet, keeping their own mannerisms and behaviors. Janet tries to differentiate them by putting them in their own styles of clothing and informs them that as they weren't sent to either the good or bad place, they are now wanted interdimensional fugitives. The humans are left to their own devices while real Janet and Michael go into the neutral zone and find the accountant. However, it seems that the mere presence of the humans in the void is now interfering with Janet's main functions. Michael requests to look at Dawg Forset's file, and the head accountant reveals that he won't get into the good place. Chidi continues to deny that he did fall in love with Eleanor, and Janet starts to implode. The head accountant reiterates that the points are cold, objective, and factual, but Michael asks him to check who's made it into the good place. Surprise, surprise, no one's gotten into the good place for over 500 years, which leads a frustrated Michael to believe that no one can help. As Eleanor begins to lose herself, Jason and Tahani wander off into the great white beyond and stumble upon Janet's collection of memories of her relationship with Jason. Chidi finally confesses his love for Eleanor and saves Janet from imploding. Janet vomits the non-Janet humans back up and into the accounting department. Michael sends the squad away, where they stumble into a sorting room which appears to be the good place. The squad aren't sure that they're in the good place, but after a deep breath they are indeed convinced, but they can't get caught. Unfortunately for them, cheery male woman Gwendolyn greets them. She informs them that the actual good place is about 500 trillion miles north-south-north from where they are, but Eleanor so desperately wants to make it. Chidi tries to calm her down by taking her on a date and dresses up as a hot mailman. She both loves and hates this, but Chidi reminds her of their entire romantic relationship and they have sex in the closet. Back in the mailroom, Michael asks Gwendolyn about the way to contact the committee, which she gleefully provides, and Jason is conflicted about his own feelings about Janet after discovering her shrine in the void. Tahani encourages him to talk to her, which doesn't go down well. She tries to help the situation by rescinding her marriage to Jason, but it only gets worse. The Good Place committee arrives at the correspondence center and are actually really sickly sweet rule-abiding folk. Unfortunately for Michael, they just love rules, and so will take a literal eternity to sort this out. Once again, another frustrated Michael seeks advice from Tahani, and she posits that any action can have unintended consequences. Gwendolyn uncovers their lies and says that she's going to alert Jen, but Michael's way ahead of her. The squad meets the judge at the IHOP, and after Jason's monologue about context, convinces Jen to go to Earth, which she doesn't enjoy at all. After discussing unintended consequences, Sean is brought in to provide some perspective from the bad place. In the boardroom, Michael and Sean argue about the objectivity of the point system, and Chidi falls into another dimension and sees the time knife. After being rescued by Janet, he explains that they need to repeat the experiment with a new group of humans. After debating the location to put this new neighborhood, they all pay a visit to Mindy St. Clair's, who isn't terribly pleased to see them, but gets a devilish grin when she mentions Derek. Janet explains to Jason the time when she created Derek and is surprised at his development as a non-human entity. Jen lays the ground rules for the second experiment, to which Michael and Sean reluctantly agree. Janet decides to become the birth mother to all of the other residents, and Michael gets a call from Sean, who awaits his failure. Eleanor checks in on Michael as the timer starts counting down, but there's just one problem. Michael can't do it. The first human wakes up, but Michael's still in the swings of his massive panic attack. Eleanor decides to take his place as architect and introduces the new human, John, to the neighborhood. It comes to pass that John was a gossip blogger on Earth who harassed Tahani, and the squad realizes that Sean picked people who would personally torture Jason, Chidi, Eleanor, and Tahani to basically guarantee a win for the bad place. Simone turns up in the ante-room, but after pleading with Jen, are unable to change things for either Tahani or Chidi. Chidi comes to the realization that in order for the squad to succeed, Michael has to wipe his memory before he died in the original timeline. The rest of the team want to come up with an alternate plan, but it dawns on them that Chidi was right. After a long emotional goodbye, an angry Eleanor vents to Janet about the fairness of what had happened and questions the purpose of love. Janet explains that the fun of humanity is in the entropy of it all, which includes love, and Eleanor welcomes Chidi into the neighborhood. This last set of episodes really was an emotional roller coaster, especially the last one. And I kind of felt like we needed to, I didn't know where we were going to end up at the end of the season. I didn't expect it to be Chidi self-sacrificing. I don't know. Nick, how did you feel about these last sets of episodes after Earth?
It is very much like a toddler with a tower of blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They happily build it up, and then they smash it down like the Tyrannosaurus they are.
Goodness me. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like once you hit Pandemonium, the final episode of this season,
Yeah.
you're just dead inside. Like, it's hard to even rewatching it. Like, I knew what was coming. I knew the lines that were going to just make me cry.
Yeah.
And it's still, I was like, no, you can't do this to me, guys. Like,
Why?
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, and...
It's so interesting that a 20-minute or 22-minute American sitcom on network television can have this effect on people.
Definitely.
Like, that's smart writing.
Yeah. And it's not, I wouldn't call it emotionally baiting, because the story kind of developed that way. Yeah, I
mean, there is some baiting in there, but
I mean, not...
but it's not what the primary antithesis is.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same feeling too, rewatching this episode today, before we recorded. I was like, I know it's coming, but ooh, my heart feels like it's been ripped out of my chest and stomped upon. Yeah. So I guess what we'll try to do is we'll try and do this chronologically. So starting with the Janet episode, and by the way, I really do feel like Darcy should have won an award of some kind for that.
Well, in classic Nick fashion, I have lists again, and my first dot point is give this woman all the awards.
Yes.
Because she really deserves all the awards for not only nailing all the humans, but also doing... Oh, it's just so good. Between the neutral Janet and good Janet and previously bad Janet, and like Darcy plays like at least 8, if not a dozen different characters throughout this show, including like various forms of this Janet.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much talent.
Yeah, I know. And and like we refer to the Good Place, the podcast, which we will obviously do, it's a great accompaniment to this series. You should definitely go watch it, listen to it. I mean, just listening to Darcy sort of explain the process of how she, became every other main character, basically, and how supportive Ted and the rest of the cast and the crew were to provide her as much support as she could, because as you can imagine, if you watch the show and this episode in particular, that is basically her in multiple many different positions, and then they just have to cut her in.
Yeah, it's a variation of action reaction shots.
Yeah.
Extra work and dummy puppet work.
Yeah. And it's a lot, and it's literally it's a white wall. It's a white room that she would be standing in and doing this, either by herself or just with Ted. And the woman deserves recognition for how much bloody.
Oh yeah. Well, even, and I mean, as you develop as an actor, you kind of get better at this. But there's the scenes where it's Jason Janet and Tahani Janet looking at the air-mounted TV screen.
Yes.
And that is just Darcy looking at nothing, talking to nothing, and then later on doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
That's...
Oh my god.
That's some serious level, not only talent, but also, self-confidence to be able to pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's holy shit. Props to Darcy for doing it. This episode also brought us some kind of familiar faces, I guess. Stephen Merchant, the tall, lanky British man. The very tall, lanky British man. Taller than Ted Danson. So that's how, yeah. He just suits that character of an accountant.
Yeah, the dorky, no humorous character.
Yes. I feel like he's typecast as that, kind of.
Yeah, but it works for him.
Yeah, I mean, he does lean into it. Yeah.
And for a bit role, I don't think that's that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah. And
plus just the chance to work on this show.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Don't ever turn down a role on The Good Place. Unless you're Nick Offerman.
Yeah, but he didn't know what he was getting into.
That is true. That is true. I guess, yeah, as a featured extra, never turn down an offer to work on The Good Place. So yeah, this episode also brought us neutral Janet. And God, I love neutral Janet. Just
I know we're going chronological here, but even just the comparison between neutral Janet and Janet trying to be neutral Janet.
Yes. You can tell she's not doing it right.
Such talent.
Such adaptability. God bless. But yeah, this episode is basically where we realized that no one was good enough to get into The Good Place. The threshold has not changed, but no human in 521 years, I believe.
I do believe.
Was able to get in. So since the what is that? 16th century? 15th? Late 15th century?
15, 16. Which raises big flags about Mindy St. Clair.
Oh, how she got... That is true, right? So the thing...
Yeah, how...
The thing with Mindy is that she was a power
Trash human.
Trash human who did lines of cocaine nearly every day, but then decided that she would spend all of her...
in a very Dawg manner.
Yes.
Of just being so high on drugs that you have no idea what the fuck's going on. Having a mental implosion and coming up with this one idea.
Yeah. To save the world, basically putting all her money and investing it into a not-for-profit. That would beg the question: how much was she worth if she somehow was able to just get into, potentially getting into the good place? Like,
she may have been able to swindle some money here and there from other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as a trash human, that wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the following episode counteracts that idea.
Yes.
Because, again, we're trying to say linear, but we're here now.
No.
The following episode says that life has got so complicated that by making one decision, you're making many decisions that have negative consequences.
Yeah.
So while she did come up with this one big idea that later on proved to be successful, if she's stealing money from people, she's investments gotta... You're going to be investing in shitbags and terrible humans.
Mm-hmm.
You're going... Like, that's got to have a lot of negative points to it.
Yeah.
So how was she just not instantly sent down? Because if no one's doing it, as...
Maybe that's a season 4 thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's such...
We need to close this. We need to
Yeah, it's such an obvious plot hole that it kind of does need to be addressed.
Yeah, definitely. Like, no Gandhi, no Mother Teresa, no Golden Girl, no Harriet Tubman. Basically, what happens is, I did a quick calculation. So this episode was the last one to be released in 2018. So take away 521 years leaves you with the year 1497. So we're on the cusp of the 16th century, which is 5 years after Columbus invaded the Americas, and is the same year that Vasco da Gama sails around the Cape of Good Hope towards India. So, I guess at the height of European colonization of the undiscovered world, is that the reason why no one got into the good place? Is it because colonialism? Is it the age of discovery?
Yeah, that's another negative consequence of colonialism.
Yeah.
But I've got to think, to get a bit morbid here.
Yes.
Like some of the slaves that chose to jump overboard and drown rather than being slaves, they've got to have lived good lives with no modern consequences to their actions.
Yeah, that's true.
And I suppose you could... No, because everyone's been hunters, so it's not like... Because, that's the question. If you're killing animals, is that a negative points? Is that negative points? Because that kind of fucks over hunter-gatherers a bit. But then they've said people have got into the good place previous.
Yes, previous to 1497, people were able to get into the good place. So,
we also see Dawg's total, which is a positive total.
Yeah.
And he's still destined to go down south.
Yes.
So, hunting can't have that bad of a negative consequence to your goodness.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll also have this question answered next season. But yeah, did you have any fun bits from this episode in particular? I love the cake bit though. We have another cake bit.
Well, so many cake bits.
Mike sure loves a good cake bit.
Well, earlier this week I saw a I believe it was on Instagram from the Good Place account, of in season 1 when Eleanor destroys the dream cake.
Yes.
And then later on in this season where she punches her own face out of the cake.
Uh-huh.
The girl loves a good cake punching.
She does. She loves to put her hands in cake. That is ASMR material right there. But yeah.
What else?
What else is there?
That all humans are just weird sex acts? Like that's all humanity is.
Yes. Just finding things to either shove a penis into or put things into a vagina.
Or butthole.
Or any other penetrable orifice.
Yes. Also, so Matt the weird sex demon.
Yes.
Well, accountant.
No, not demon.
He's not really a demon.
Not a demon.
He's not a demon. He's not evil. So he files for suicide. Can he die, like, or is that just retirement? Like, can he only be retired?
I see. Because we raised this before, is that demons can't be killed. Oh, well, they can't be killed by Janet. The only way that you can end their existence is by retirement. Good question. As accountants, I think they'd just be reincarnated. Maybe?
So their matter is disintegrated and they just form
Reformed.
a new accountant?
Yes?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
in a matter cannot be created or destroyed, only changed.
Yes.
Type of way.
Yep. Obeying thermodynamics. Yeah, I would say they're just, transformed into another accountant. But then again, it's a never-ending cycle of, people, accountants being.
Well, I mean, really, aren't humans just dead humans smooshed together in different ways with different brain impulses?
Yeah. We might get
this
into that.
This is the type of talk that freaks, yeah. This is where we can get real deep as the STEM boys.
Yes. Concepts of, teleportation and, oh god, multiverse theories. Wonderful. What else was there? This one had the really emotional bit of Eleanor imploding and Chi
the
finally like confessing his love for her.
Yeah, the beautiful changing Eleanor string is real.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was real emotional, and that we're on the roller coaster already. Basically. But yeah.
Which then later on leads to some very interesting Janet on Eleanor on Cheaty action.
Yes. And listening to the behind the scenes knowledge of what is happening is that Darcy's basically on a turntable, motorized turntable. And then they have to she has to fake kiss, pretend to kiss someone in who is next to her, who is going to be herself. It's just so confusing but very intriguing. I
mean, you could easily do that with double work.
But
because another of the points I have is if you look closely, you can tell. Especially when you've watched so much Good Place.
That's true.
You kind of know Darcy's general face shape and body shapes. You can if you focus, you can tell where are the extras, and pretty much it's any time where a human Janet doesn't have their face to the camera. So you could technically do it with doubles, where especially like you see it a lot with Tahani and Eleanor Janet with long hair. The hair can kind of hide the face, use double.
Yeah.
Gets a bit harder with Judy Janet.
Yeah.
And Jason.
Oh my god.
Janet.
Darcy nailed.
She's
Darcy
so
nailed.
good at the.
Darcy nailed
Yeah.
Manny's like everything so well.
Which she later on does in the final episode.
Yes, we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
We
oh
will.
my god.
We will. But
Oh dear. But yeah.
the only other real point I have is, of course, Eleanor is into Janet.
I mean,
Fucking into everyone.
you know, men, women, non-human entities. If they're, see, that's the thing, right? We're referencing this, the final episode. She's also into Satan, basically.
Well, I mean,
If Satan was bald with a goatee.
like, you look at the devil from, I mean, just Tenacious D, Pick of Destiny. Not a great film, but the devil in it is quite like
Can you
an
find
alright
that?
looking dude.
Can you find a picture for me and put it in?
Oh, yeah, I
chat?
can easily do that. But I mean, like, it's not like a sexy looking guy. But, I mean,
decent
sometimes,
enough.
Yeah, like. Plus, if you're into like the red skin and maybe a bit of the horns.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe just like, you know, Eleanor is the bi icon we didn't know we needed, but we actually do really need her. So yeah. Anyway, we should probably move on to Book of Dogs, which is
The dogs.
Book of Dogs. Yeah, they're in the good place. They're actually in the good place. If the
Well, 4 Oreos from the good place.
from the area that is designated the good place.
From the non-mail room.
Yes. Basically the good place there. If the swear word substitute wasn't enough, take a deep breath and you'll smell what you most desire. Oh my goodness. Eleanor with the water park chlorine mixed in with vomit is just something. And Chidi even calls it out. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, how
is this comforting for you?
Yeah. I mean, I also have a thing to pick with that, which is Tahani specifies it's the curtain being drawn between first class and economy.
Yes.
Tahani ain't flying first class.
Private jet.
She's either going private jet or at least that weird apartment thing that Emirates or Eddie have now.
Ah, yes.
That's where it's like $10,000 and you have an apartment in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what she...
Oh, I mean, no, you'd still take a private plane even if you were just, you know, going between Great British...
Within Europe?
Yeah, you'd still be taking the private jet. It's probably quicker.
Probably.
You can have your own snacks.
Yeah.
You can leave you can leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gil got a private jet.
Yeah. I mean...
Or she's using someone else's. Because
Airbnb.
she got the
Airbnb account.
Yeah, it's Airbnb.
Airbnb.
It's an Air's airplane.
Yes. HEIR BNB. Ah, bless.
And unfortunately, as we've learnt in the last couple of days, Bortles holding a Super Bowl trophy is sounding more and more impossible.
Oh, we'll get to that. We will get to this. But yeah, were you taken aback by the lady that played Gwendolyn? At how big that her personality was?
I've seen her in stuff before,
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't a surprise. But it was like, is this really the good place I want to be in?
Mm-hmm.
Like my good place would not include glitter. Glitter would be the last thing I would want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's definitely some you're in the fake good place torture bullshit right there.
Yeah,
Glitter
that-
just everywhere, and you never being able to get rid of it all.
True. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, I guess I was kind of surprised at Nicole Barr being cast as Gwendolyn, but maybe not really. Given that I've seen her on Nailed It, which is that Netflix show. God.
Which she says she loves hosting, but also hates hosting.
Yes, because
Because so
tasting the
many
food.
people can't cook.
And the thing is, right, she brings up that the fact that all of the cake mixes that they have are box mixed. So it's like, how do you fuck up box mix cake? Apparently people
I mean,
do.
it's not hard to fuck it up, but also
Surely,
it's pretty easy to get right.
yeah. I mean, oh my God.
Oh, like I've fucked up box mix before, but that's probably like once or twice in the probably close to 100 times I've used a box mix before.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably run it like less than 5% chance of fucking it up, and they still find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, they do. They do. Good
Yeah.
Lord. But yeah, this good place, I don't think I would even want this good place. It looks damp. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like, if you look at the setting of
musky.
it, musky.
It
There's
looks
mold.
musky.
It's like you could, if you took away the ability to smell whatever your favorite smell is, it probably smells of like wet mold growing from the carpet. But it is very like, I do like the wood, but maybe even then, I don't know. Yeah, it just looks like musky and like muggy. That is not the good place that I like. I would want. But yeah, and I just love the weird comicness of this episode in particular. Just the fact that Janet blows up
yeah. Why does Janet blow it up for one? Also, how does the last person get into the chute? Because you have to push the button and the person goes up. So how's
maybe
the last person...
Janet conjured up a stick.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like a selfie stick to hit the button, and then she.
Janet has her powers.
Yeah,
so Janet just makes a stick. There we go. That
Janet
solves
just
that.
makes a stick. This is how you solve things in the realm of the Good Place show universe. Is that Janet is able to conjure up things in as long as she's not on Earth. So obviously, everything is solvable with Janet. But yeah, she blows the safe up, and then like on cue, a picture frame falls down. Bless.
And then you go through the. It is nice to be here.
It
and
is not nice to
not
be here. End of conversation.
Darcy.
Oh, bless. Oh dear. After that,
we also just have some beautiful Jason moments in this episode.
Oh, okay. I just have to say, like, these last 3 episodes, like this last set of episodes,
yeah.
Jason is like such a sweet little puppy. I'm like, oh my God.
We'll get to
the
probably
next
my
episode.
favorite Jason. Oh, the episode, like the last episode, probably is one of my favorite Jason moments of all time.
Mm-hmm. But we'll get there.
But yeah, we'll get there. I mean, in this episode, we have "It's nice to know I can talk about girls with my wife."
Oh no. The line. Okay, when Tahani rescinds the marriage, right? It's like, and then she realizes she's kind of fucked up a bit, and then she rescinds the rescinding of the marriage, and it's like, oh, so what does he say? He says something about like, something related to marriage and being alone, and like that hit me like, oh, Jason, you sweet puppy boy. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's something like. I remember it being like, remembering I'm dead. And I'm like, yeah, that's gotta suck. But at the same time, in the previous episode,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Jason forgets that they're dead. Oh no, in the following episode, I'm pretty sure Jason forgets they're dead.
Probably.
Like he's
Jason. Oh, it's here, right? In the beginning, it's like when Gwendolyn asks Tahani and Jason how they met. It's like, we met in brain school and that we got married because nothing mattered. Oh, Jason, I love you so much, but you are so all kinds of like stupid. My God. Can we also just like talk about the date scene in, I believe it's the second act of this episode, where Chidi like tries to make good on, you know, finally making this relationship official. And
yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know, get the champagne out. That is a gift. Hang on, I have the quote here. Here's some champagne for you for thanking me, for thanking you, for thanking me, for thanking you, for thanking me for the champagne you sent me. And then
Which Chidi replies with, pop that
bench. Oh, bless. And then obviously Chidi goes and transforms into Hot Mailman. This is the only other time we'll see William Jackson Harper's musculature. Oh, dear me. I'm scrolling through.
We also find out this episode what a pluot is. Well, no, we get a pluot.
We don't know what pluot is.
Then I googled it just to know what the fuck it is, and it's the stupidest humans destroying the environment thing ever.
What is it?
It is a non-first generation hybrid of a Japanese plum and an apricot.
So, a nectarine, but... Huh?
Well, so you take a Japanese plum and an apricot, and you splice them.
Okay.
You get a what's it called?
Is it a cutting?
Well, no. The plant itself is called a. Oh, what the fuck it was? I can't remember. But it's a stupid hybrid plum apricot jamming the name together. And then if you breed that with one of itself, I feel no, because it wouldn't have seeds. That's it. Oh, it might have seeds. But whatever. It's so any non first generation, so it's not a direct crossing of.
So it's a second.
Plum.
So it's a second or below, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And apparently they are very sweet, but also, fucking stop crossing shit. Like, stop making frankenfruit. Plums and apricots already suck enough. You don't need to make them suck more.
Oh dear.
But that committee. Oh my God, could I stab them?
Oh, trust. You know, that is like, they're very frustrating. And again, because
normal committees are frustrating enough.
These
are
going
to take 200 years to choose people, and then another 1,000 years to see if they're actually non-biased.
Yes.
And then, I've dealt with bullshit like that.
Oh, dear me. Anything, Oh, okay. I'm scrolling through the, script now for that Jason quote. I feel both pitied and no, that's not that. It's a nice gesture. I feel both pitied and put on the spot, so that's one. And it's a cool reminder of how I'm dead. Oh, Jason.
Jason, baby.
Oh, baby boy. Oh, dear. Oh, God. Is there anything else from this episode that stands out to you?
A great, very Tahani moment of her going through everything with Michael.
Uh-huh.
Michael being like, "You've done it," and her saying, "Of course I did, darling." Did what?
Did what? I don't know. Oh, you know what's also a great Tahani bit, but also very sort of self-owned for the British. It's like, I'm British, we never cry. That line is great.
This episode has great moments for all of the... Which, I mean, Good Place is pretty good at making sure that every actor has, like, a pivotal scene in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one, I think, in particular, stands out because everyone has, a few good quotable stuff. Yeah.
And finally, just a line that can be held by all of humanity from now on. Being a good person gets a bit harder.
Yeah.
It is hard to be good sometimes.
It is. Especially when people are right cunts sometimes.
And you have a mouldy orange leading what people call the free world.
Yeah. But anyway, we press on. The next episode, obviously, Michael summoned Jen, the judge, into the IHOP, the interdimensional hole of pancakes, where you don't eat the pancakes eat you. And Jason, I think, needs to be reminded of the fact that
too many times.
Yeah, one too many times. That you can't eat these pancakes. And it's not the IHOP that he was thinking of. Oh dear.
When they do eventually get to the IHOP,
yes,
I kind of hope that they're not all real pancakes, because it's a waste of pancakes.
True.
Because when they're in the actual IHOP, every single table, every single flat surface has like a foot tall piles of pancakes.
Oh, okay. If those aren't all need noggled,
yeah, true.
If they're not all VFX, and if set deck and what is catering called?
I forget how good craft services. I forget how good need noggle is.
But still, like, if it wasn't all need noggling, and if craft services did have stacks of pancakes, I'm sure like they only took 5 takes at most, and then decided, we'll just hand these out to the staff, and then we'll just put a new stack of pancakes on each table in time for the next set of shots.
Well, I mean, in this episode, we find out via the Good Place podcast, that there is a scene missing where before they go to the boardroom, they go to a ballpark. Is it?
It's a baseball stadium.
A baseball stadium.
Atlanta.
Yes.
I think it's at whatever Atlanta.
The Atlanta
Hawks.
Braves are the.
Huh?
Unless
wait, baseball.
The baseball, I believe, is the.
Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. Yes. And Jason has a hot dog and a beer.
Yes.
And because they cut out that scene, Need Nuggle changes the beer to water.
Yes. So
and it's ostensibly some very frothy water, I will point out.
And it's very purpley water.
Yeah, he did his best.
I mean, he's not Christ. He's reverse Christ.
No. Well, in the spate of one season, he does destroy a community and then rebuild it just using the same shot in reverse.
Yes, just reverse the shot. But yeah. Oh God.
And just a straight Need Nuggle call out with the Need Nuggle.
Yes. The weird slug that turns into a wonderful scarf. But
Which still can't be touched.
Which still can't be touched because no touchy. No touchy. Because you're gonna die. Dear me. Yeah. And this episode when we bring... Oh well, let's get back to Maya Rudolph's reappearance on The Good Place. She's so thirsty for Chidi. Jesus Christ.
Way too thirsty.
She wants that. She
at the
wants
start, he is in the mailman outfit.
Yes.
So, I mean...
Oh, dear me. You can tell the judge wants that D, and that D is for direct mail. She's just way too thirsty. And the fact that Chidi has no context for who she is, and because none of them would have realized that they'd visited her before.
No. Yeah, that's just some random, straight, flat out flirting.
Yeah. To Chidi, it would be the weirdest shit.
Especially after Chidi's just had all this stuff last episode with Eleanor.
Yeah. But there's that. But also when she goes to Earth and visits a few places like Paraguay and a Black Friday sale.
My God.
And
she finds out she's a black woman.
Yes, and people don't like black women. It's tough. But also the very slight, very subtle reference to Chick-fil-A. Oh boy. God.
I mean, it could also technically... I mean, it's not so much chicken, but you also do have In-N-Out with their ostensively religious connotations.
Yeah, that's true. Although this is real obvious that it was Chick-fil-A.
Yes, very obvious.
Very obvious. But yeah. Oh, goodness me. And then we get Sean, our Lord and Savior Mark Evan Jackson, who appears to be torturing Shakespeare with the plot for the Entourage movie. I have not watched Entourage.
The Entourage 2.
The Entourage.
No, sorry. The
it is the movie.
Yes, correct.
Yes,
the movie. I get too confused. Too many shit movies. Too many movies with Ronda Rousey that are just terrible. As a WWE fan, I have to fucking deal with Ronda at the moment. She's fucking breaking the business, I tell ya.
No.
But that's for another day. Fuck you, Ronda.
Dear Lord. But yes, you get Sean, and Sean is explaining the plot to the Entourage movie to Shakespeare. And, oh, goodness me. And learning what the actual line was supposed to finish off with from the podcast is brilliant. But yeah. And I also think Chidi falling into a portal, a dimensional hole, that scene was funny. But also,
can someone grab my tiny boyfriend is definitely my favorite Honey I Shrunk the Kids spin-off.
Ah, yes. Someone grab my tiny boyfriend.
That's also just a meta joke for people who listen to the same 3 podcasts as I do.
Oh no, Nick.
I love great meta jokes.
Ah, so many.
Everyone also go listen to Dynamic Banter.
Oh dear. Dear me.
But we also get a reference to Simone,
Yes. Callback.
which callback and setup.
Yes. And it's like, I guess looking back on it, right? This episode was like, yeah. I mean, you know, I was kind of shocked that they wrote Simone out so early, given that she was a character that you could have built so much more story on. So, this callback to Simone, had me going like, okay, so are we gonna get Simone? Maybe, and that kind of paid off, in the final episode. But yeah, I am. Oh yes, we're only talking about the first half. We haven't even gone past.
Yeah, we haven't even got
boardroom
to.
yet.
They
Indecent.
decide, because as Simone said, you have to repeat the experiment.
Yes.
You have to get new people in. So they
Yes.
decide to restart the original good place, bad place
Mm-hmm.
torture test. Well,
Yes.
there's no torture this time.
No.
It's just them trying to better people.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
do see, because this continues into our next two episodes
Mhm.
and into season 4, I do see Sean trying to throw a bit of torture in there.
Oh, I mean, you know, that is a given. There's an entire arc probably waiting for something to do with Vicky in a skin suit. We'll get to Vicky in a Michael skin suit very soon. But anyway, we get to Mindy's, and having realized that the actor that plays Mindy St. Clair was actually very pregnant, I had to look again to see if I could tell, and you can actually tell that what she's wearing is a little bit, you know, you can tell where.
That's what happens when you sleep with as it's called, Janet's sun rebound booty call.
Oh goodness me. And the fact that he describes his penis as almost fully developed and quite resplendent. So here's a question for you, Nick. How do you think Derek's penis was developed? From tip to shaft or shaft to tip?
What?
How do you think the penis developed?
Well, I mean, it grows like a tree. Starts off as a little tree, and it becomes a slightly larger tree.
But this is obviously Derek logic we're talking, so, you know.
True, it is Derek.
This is
The man will just drink a glass of olives and call
Oh
it a
my God.
martini.
Oh god, that was just, yeah. But the look on Jason's face when he sees Derek appear, like, you know,
Oh, it's so sad. He's sad
suave
boy.
Derek in a tux, drinking in air quotes a martini. It's like, oh baby boy.
Poor JC.
This sweet baby boy is just like, oh god. He is real jealous. Even if Janet does explain to him that, you know, Derek is someone that she made out of anger. And as she quotes, and she calls him sun rebound booty call. Goodness me. But yeah. And then they have to create the neighborhood, obviously, which leads to the we'll just save David Noggle a few days and just reuse old footage from the is it the second to last episode of season 2?
Maybe the third last?
I can't remember. Basically, the shot of the neighborhood going away, they just used that exact shot, just in reverse.
With some minor alterations.
Yes, because it's
but
not
not
fading to
alteration.
black.
But also not alterations that are going to be like a week in just development. They're small alterations that would have taken like half a day. Just one so it's not as noticeable, and to add a couple more nice little details.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, we get the neighborhood back, and it is interesting to see that Eleanor, for some reason wanted to use, get the house that she was given, and her justification is that she and Chidi basically met there, and they could use it as, as the house that they.
And it's a perfect place to study philosophy.
Yes, that is true. That is very, very true.
Sex.
We'll get to that.
How the tables have turned.
It is very interesting to see the role reversal, where Chidi is now the one that is mad horny, and Eleanor is actually the one that is like, we need to actually let them learn philosophy and all this, all this other stuff.
Yeah, the tables have really turned in these episodes. Like, my last note for this episode is Michael has changed big time. Because, Michael, season 1 Michael would not have an existential breakdown about not being able to properly run. He'd be like, I got this, I'm going to throw a bit of torture in there, and they're not going to know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think we said this before, is that both Michael and Janet are becoming more human over time. It's just very interesting to see them gain humanity. But yeah, it's just very interesting to see, I guess, Eleanor and Chidi in particular swap roles. Yeah.
We also see that Michael does still have a Doug Forsyth poster.
Yes. I had to rewatch this particular episode because, as I said in the season 3 part 2 podcast, I wondered if he was actually going to use the photo that he took of Doug Forsyth when he was 68 in Canada. No, he and I guess now that we know that now that Michael knows the whole thing about unintended consequences, is that he believes that as long as if the experiment is successful, Doug Forsyth will get into the good place.
But does Doug actually deserve to go in the good place is one of my big questions.
And that is a very interesting question to pose, is that, does he deserve to get in? It depends, I guess, and we're going to prediction territory here, is that it depends how much context they will, if in a future episode we do find out that the human, the Soul Squad are indeed successful in finishing this experiment. It's like, where do you draw the line with context? But it will be interesting if one episode we get Doug Forsyth, who has died on Earth, appearing in, in the good place.
Well, we still have 2 humans left.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have...
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think we
I don't think so either. I think we're probably looking... Because so far we have someone related to Jason and someone related... Well, to left, we have someone related to Jason and someone related to Eleanor.
Mm-hmm. What I would say is that, well, the bad plays technically aren't allowed to pick people that will be torturous. So maybe we'll see Eleanor's ex.
I mean, yeah,
like a mutual, someone that she ended the relationship on a relatively good term. Or maybe the guy from the environmental place.
Yeah, he died of malnutrition. Not enough protein.
The sexy Victorian malnutrition. Malnourished guy. But maybe for Jason. Maybe if Jason. Okay, so it can't be Pillboy. It won't be his dad.
No, they just bring him too much happiness.
Yeah.
Unless they choose, because Jason is in his Jianyu outfit.
Yes.
So
unless we pick someone.
They send one of the two who have died.
Yep.
To purposely break the experiment. Like, Jason is just going to be so out of it. He's just going to start.
Yes. He really
everything's
wants
going to be his butthole.
Oh, we get the. I forgot. We get the butthole again.
Maybe. Oh, actually,
we will.
The
Come on.
apartment. Yeah, you may as well give him the butthole. But it's like a new and improved butthole.
More spacious than the last.
More roomy.
More accommodating.
This is just a deep hole we can go into.
A very, very deep hole. Like, more than fist deep.
Oh, fucking hell, we're terrible.
Dear. I don't know who you would pick. Maybe, if it has to be a decent challenge, someone from Jason's life as a dancer. Maybe Peanut, because we've mentioned Peanut. Or maybe are we going to go with Sheila, Doggy Dog's ex-girlfriend, who Jason framed for boogie board theft, all the way back in, I believe, season 1. Maybe? Who knows, honestly. Like, yes. But yeah,
it will be
going
interesting
back
to find
this
out.
episode.
We have
many
things awaiting us in season 4.
Actually, was very interesting because when Nick and I, we did a spoiler cast about the first 5 episodes of The Good Place season 3, and I believe the first few episodes of Doctor Who. In our regular season, I brought up the prediction, a season 4 prediction, that somehow all of the humans would become Good Place architects, and you find out towards the end of this episode that Eleanor becomes the architect. If there is going to be one last season, I would think that it would be closing off Michael and Janet's arcs.
Yeah.
And
I
potentially
also could see it as kind of, or at least the second half of this season, it being to keep this podcast on brand. Good Place Queer Eye.
Maybe. Who knows, really? And I'm gonna spitball this idea. I'm gonna put this idea out there, and when we come back next year with season 4, potential season 4, is that I have a feeling if we are going to have a season 4, is that these 4 then become Good Place architects. That might be a thing. So I'm gonna leave that prediction out there in the world and see what happens in a year's time. Because who knows, honestly, where Michael Schur could take the show. So,
I mean, they all kind of are.
They all kind of are.
In that they're all, that they've that they've developed it together as, a community, and kind of everyone's got a bit of say in what goes on. Like, clearly Tahani was like, I want my big ass mansion. And which Will it be the same? I mean, yeah, of course it's going to be the same mansion. It's
Yeah.
cheap filming places, but
Yes.
it'd be interesting if it was a different one.
Maybe. Maybe we'll actually get the weird sex dungeon rooms that Jamila was discussing on the podcast from a while back. Yeah. When I was watching this episode, I immediately thought back to a few months ago when we discussed predictions for season 4. I was like, oh shit, I might have actually been right about this. I just didn't, I forgot that the Good Place writers like to compress plots into, we get 7 seasons worth of plot in a season. So it stands to reason that yes, they definitely would have decided on.
And I do remember being like, they can't get back to the
Good Place?
Good Place, Bad Place.
Oh my goodness.
That's just how will they do it? That's so much content, and
yes,
maybe in later seasons.
Do you also?
I also forget that they go through 17 seasons in one.
Do you also remember we were talking about shitty Australian accents, and then I said something about maybe next season we'll get shitty Canadian accents, and look where we ended up. We ended up in fucking rural Alberta with bloody Michael McKean. This is Doug Forsett. So yeah. I'm not saying that I accurately predicted what happened.
But you do get paychecks as a writer.
So yes, NBC Universal, if you do happen to listen to this, shout out, or maybe give me some kind of role, potentially. I'd love to be on it. I don't see, who knows, right?
We'll take a tour of the set.
I'd love to go and take a tour of the set and meet, the cast, and just holy shit, I love you all. But yeah. Anything. Come on. It's the Good Place. It's the smartest, dumbest show on earth right
Even
now.
a dress bitch t-shirt would be nice.
No. A Bad Place pin would be great. Love me a Bad Place pin. Yeah. God. But yeah, the phone yes.
I was thinking, so this is in Mindy Sinclair's backyard.
Yes.
And it's a very nice community. However, I'm pretty sure she's not allowed to access it. I will say she's not allowed to access it because that would violate it being a medium place.
It is her backyard though. So I would say
it is her backyard, but it's not very medium
but
placey.
There'll be at least one episode where Derek and Mindy end up sauntering through the neighborhood
needing a cup of sugar.
I just need cocaine. Someone give me cocaine.
Janet, give me cocaine. Derek has summoning powers. He might be able to summon cocaine.
No, he'll just summon all-purpose flour.
Yeah, that just pisses her off.
Or even better, icing sugar. Dear me. Well, I guess, Derek has been rebooted 500,000 times, so maybe? It will be...
Yeah, it's just really poor quality cocaine.
Cut. Yeah, no, there's a gram of cocaine cut and diluted into, a ton of all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah. So that's that. And, the conversation between Sean, Michael, and then Vicky in a Michael skin suit. The, bye, bitch.
This is stuff they could have brought up about 2 years ago.
Yes. Eleanor. It's disgusting. Disgusting. God, poor Ted. But honestly, like, and you know, if all we're gonna, they could have, but you know, it's fun. It's fun to leave these things for a while and let it snowball, and then bring it up, you know, when the timing is right. I just love that, like, bye bitch ending to that phone call. It's so great. Just seeing Ted Danson pretending to be Tia Sarkar, who plays Vicky, who is in character pretending to be Michael in a skin suit, saying bye bitch. Just all kinds of happiness. But yeah. So that's that episode, and now we get to the season final. This is where Michael, in panic attack mode, just crumbles to his feet, and Eleanor has to, you know, take over and run the show. We discover, actually, yeah, we basically kind of melded these last two episodes into our previous conversation, but yeah, it was. And we discussed this in the beginning, it was difficult to watch this again, even with the full knowledge of what happens. It's just Chidi realizing that he needs to, you know, this was basically a kind of trolley problem for him. Saving the integrity of the experiment, the repeat of the experiment, or maintaining a relationship, you know, trying not to I guess fall in love again with Simone. It's like, yeah, he realized that in order for the Soul Squad to have any chance of succeeding, is that he needed to die in a way, and that was very painful to hear again, and I'm sure I'll still feel the same, like, months from now when I have to rewatch it in time for season 4 premiering. But yeah, Nick, thoughts on Pandemonium?
So many.
Oh my goodness.
First, just a quick one to get it out of the way. We have the question about, is the number of people in the community significant? Now, as the Good Place podcast, again, points out, like, all the numbers in this show have some amount of significance.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure this is just Mike Shaw poking jabs at himself. Also, the number 322 is three significant figures.
Is it?
Well, yeah, it's three significant figures.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just a good STEM joke in there.
Oh, dear. This, like, oh dear.
Another writing job I have is when we get Simone awake and she has her froyo. One of the flavors is male co-worker being called out for stealing your ideas. Now, the credited writers of this episode are Megan Amram and Jen Statsky. Do you think that's a jab at someone stealing, at a male co-worker stealing their writing ideas? Because I think so. Maybe.
Do you know what it is? I think this is Megan's way of getting back at there's a male writer that I believe was able to get a joke in about in an Australia episode. Is that she probably got so pissed at him getting that joke in. I believe it was the I can't remember. Is it the We Crumb from a Land Down Under? I can't remember.
They're all terrible puns, and they deserve to go to the bad place for those puns.
But I mean, yeah, I think that was, or maybe
Yeah.
that is like a subtle, like, Me Too, you
I
know.
mean that, but also don't steal people's ideas in the workplace.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Dear me. Yeah. The last, like, the scene with just Chidi and Eleanor watching their memories pass by was also like a good walk down memory lane, like, for the most part. I mean, we get to see new stuff. But it's, watching that was just like, oh, look at the pretty couple now that they're going. now that one of them has to have their mind wiped, it's just so much more painful.
yeah, that's what starts it for me. Where I'm just like, nah, just nah.
Can we not?
Yeah,
Can
can we just not? Can I just like not watch this? Is this the type of thing where I can not watch it and it's just they're just stuck in limbo forever?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you so wish that it'd be real great if they couldn't, but you know that it's happening, and and I think Eleanor's last, like, monologue with Janet, that very last scene in the cold, the close, I'm sure that summed up a lot of the feelings of the audience about the fact that life is not fair when it comes to losing someone that you love, and then, you know, and people have invested a lot into that relationship between those two characters, and then to have that taken away, it does feel like, you know, you're screaming at the sky saying, why would you do this to us? But Janet being you know, within an inch of becoming an actual human person, saying, you know, stuff about the fun in humanity is just reveling in this thing that is pandemonium, and that was also a really emotional scene between those two, and oh boy, this fucking show. I swear to God.
I know. Even so, my favorite Jason moment of all time, like I said, is in this episode, and it's crushing as well. It's the scene that starts with, "Will you remember pizza?" Oh, Jason, Jason, but it is also sad as well. Like it's not that crushing sadness, but it's like,
no,
he won't
but
remember.
He won't. Yeah,
because you don't think about, like, you think, oh, you know, they'll just be able to wipe out before he met Simone. Well, that's before he met all of them.
Before he met everyone.
Like, it's going to be when that aircon unit crushed his stupid little head.
It is. We're going back to that memory. So, and you know, the look Manny gives when he says, you know, that line of like, "You won't remember pizza," is just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Will you remember pizza? Will I remember what pizza is? And Jason's just like, yeah, just nodding away. Yes, I'll still know what pizza is. Okay, so it's not a total loss.
No, it's not. But
It's not a total loss. You still remember pizza.
He'll remember the concept of pizza, but it's the... Oh, God. I will say this right now. I'm so fucking glad Manny is taken, because Jesus Christ. How? Just... Oh, okay. Call back to when not the Janet's episode, the Book of Doug's episode, where they all end up in the correspondence center. The line that Nicole Byer says as Gwendolyn, it's like, are all humans on Earth this beautiful? It's just like, are they? No, they're not, obviously. But I mean, you know, they're Jamila and Manny are, you know, real pretty. And I am also very annoyed at the fact that their first kiss together was both their 7th kiss. ever.
I mean, they could be lucky people.
What, squander kisses for the people that they actually love?
Yeah.
But still, only 7. Surely more, right? But anyway, back to Pandemonium and the fact that Eleanor remembers that Chidi forced her to read Paradise Lost. God. And this
Which
is
I
where
mean
we get...
is a struggle in itself.
It is. Having had to read sections of it in English in senior high school, that was a journey and a half to do.
I bet it could be one of the things where if I only read it, like if I was to read it slowly and actually read it for pleasure, I could probably get through it, but
Probably.
it's just one of these things where it's like that circular, overly flowing language that digs deep holes, and yeah, I'll just prefer to read about Batman smashing the Joker's face in again.
Fair enough. But yeah. So, is there anything else, Nick, from this episode that you wanted to highlight in any way?
Not really.
Not really?
Just people being legit snacks.
Oh my good lord. The delivery was great on that, I have to say.
And yeah, just Jeremy Bear Me, baby.
Oh, that line. Oh dear. Yeah.
I really hope they can resolve it some way where they can just end up chilling in the dot of the eye forever.
Maybe
Like-
that will happen in the finale, like absolute
As a
final
great
episode.
as like a roll credits moment of just them being in that dot would be a really nice way to close the show.
It really would. Honest to God, it really would. Yeah. So I guess there's a few things that we need to address. So very recently, as at the time of this recording, and Nick brought this up earlier, Blake Bortles has been officially dropped from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And obviously Good Place Twitter community are very disappointed. So I replied to I believe Megan Amram's tweet about it, and posited, told the writers, you have to do at least one episode where Janet finds out about Blake Bortles being dropped from the Jags and tries so desperately not to tell Jason, but somehow she fails and accidentally slips it out, and cue Jason's emotional grief loss arc, finding out that the pandemonium, the hype that is Bortles, is no more.
You could also throw in like a sad Bortles Molotov in there.
Oh,
I don't know what thing he sets on fire sadly, but just like maybe just like underarms that just like very soft underarms.
Oh, you
like,
know what? You know what it would
Bortles.
be? It would be Blake Bortles. It would be the stuffed bear that Janet bought for him on Earth, and he would have it in the butthole, and upon finding out, lights a crappy Molotov, throws it at Blake Bortles and says, Bortles.
Or he underarms the bear itself into like a fire and just like Bortles.
Oh my god.
You just see the bear slowly, like the artificial fire is just like melting into a ball.
Oh.
And it's just like the death of Jason's childhood.
No. But it also would be fun to just have like a random cameo of the real life Blake Bortles.
Yeah, but no one would know who it is. Because it's a not very well known American football player. Like, I don't know how much of crossover there is between actual Jags fans and The Good Place.
I mean, they got manning to say Duval, so there's a significant following of Jags supporters that also watch The Good Place. So I'm sure that would be some sort of saccharine for them if, Blake Bortles did end up on the show for like a hot minute. Just because, the Blake Bortles in that universe has died somehow.
Oh. He died of embarrassment of being dropped by the Jags.
From the Jags. Oh, that would be a plot twist, wouldn't it? Dear me. I don't think there are any real life plot things that might affect the show. No. So, we've done a lot of predicting for season 4, so I guess we'll get into a few questions that a mutual friend of ours, Tishmora, from, at Tish Talk, KCR Tish Talk on Twitter. She's a friend of ours that, has her own radio show in the States on KCR College Radio. Go listen to them on SoundCloud or on TuneIn. It's good shit. And she won a broadcasting award with Josh Gilbertson and Ryan Way-Mueller for the show that they did like last year. So props to them. She sent us a few questions about The Good Place, so I guess Nick and I will address them now because it is the last episode we've got for the current series. So first question, Nick, would you end up in the good or a bad place?
I mean, at the moment, the bad place. No one's gone to the good place.
Oh, yes, same. I think if you have a look at what happens in both realms, bad place, yeah, probably.
And I mean, I see a lot of like cheaty in myself as well, which only dooms me.
Fair enough. And there's a follow-up question for that. Is that what would be your ideal good place? And what would be your worst bad place?
I already said no glitter, thanks.
So, is there a place that comes to mind, like a comic book shop?
I mean, it would be nice to have like just a big ass library, just like all the reading materials you could ever want. Like, well, I mean, that's just a Janet, just being like, "Yo, Janet, I want this book." But
yeah.
I mean, as much as you say you didn't like the post office type good place room, it seems nice. It's like, I like that type of thing. The timber and the... I think everything you hate about it, I like about it.
It just conjures up a smell of like mold for me. But I guess...
Yeah, like old aged paper.
No, see, that's the thing. It's like, I do like the smell of books. It's just the carpet that freaks me out, with the fact that it is carpet, that could trap moisture and, what would be your worst bad place though?
I mean, it's more just whatever they're going to be torturing me with.
Penis bees?
Having to watch Married at First Sight over and over again.
Oh, no.
Nothing but maths. Oh, my God.
Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. So for me, what would I... Actually, this is an interesting question then. I'll flip on you, Nick. Is that, what do you think my good place is?
The set of a cooking show.
Why do you say that?
Well, you were quite obsessed with both food and cooking shows.
Yeah, that's true.
Just having nice food and watching people cook, and I think you could dig that.
See, but okay, fair enough. But I also, okay, this is what I envision my good place would be. It would be, What would I say it would be? It would be a cafe attached to a library. Because I like learning about new shit, so that is kind of what I'd like my good place to be, is good food, good coffee, and obviously good reads. That is my ideal good place, but I guess also in terms of weather-wise, I would not want it to be any higher than 20 degrees Celsius. This past week of 30, almost 40 degrees Celsius has proven that, once again, that I'm a cold boy.
You were definitely living in the wrong state then.
I know. But yeah, bad place would probably be continually watching My Kitchen Rules and Married at First Sight at the same time, because
You're not a big fan of My Kitchen Rules?
My Kitchen Rules? No.
It is just all
sorry.
drama though.
I care
And
not.
it's the
I
same
care
as
not
maths.
for.
It's just
yeah,
all the.
I care not for shitty reality television.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is another question. Let me take a look. Best ship of the show.
Oh god, they're all good.
But if you had to choose one,
I mean, that's hard, yo.
Tisha, why you make this hard?
Yeah, I mean, I am quite fond of Jason Janet. They're just so cute. And
I would, yeah.
And I feel like they definitely work. Opposed to Cheaty and Eleanor, where, like, I mean, it grows and eventually, yeah, for sure they work, but it's not something that, like, instantly hits. But the dumb social guy and the smart, not so socially aware robot lady.
Yes.
Of which she's
not
neither.
a woman, not a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, like, that always worked in the show. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Jason Janet.
And I think I would agree. That is the best, like, the purest, most wholesome ship of the show. Yeah.
I mean, you even, in this load of episodes, you even look at when Jason goes to talk to Janet in the Book of Dogs. Like, Janet is beaming. She's smiling ear to ear.
I know.
And he's just like, this entity is completely infatuated with this dum-dum.
It's not infatuation. She is fully in love with the sweet baby boy.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, definitely those two. And there's one last question. How would you personally solve the trolley problem?
Well, it's what variation of the trolley problem? Because there's so many variations. We're going with
we're going with the classic trolley problem, which is 1v5 and you choose. No other variables to influence your decision.
It depends what mood I'm in.
Uh-huh.
There's many a mood where I could be like, fuck that, if I can take 5 people down, I'm fucking doing it.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. It is, yeah, and this is the thing with pure theoretical, philosophical scenarios, is that absent of context, I would say I would have to choose the one. Have you seen, okay, there's a video somewhere, I believe on YouTube or Reddit, that someone uploaded about a parent asking the child to figure out the trolley problem. Yeah. Have you seen that video where the child then just grabs the one person and puts them with the group of 5 and then smashes the train into them?
Takes them all out.
True anarchy, ladies and gentlemen. I am that child sometimes.
Oh, children. Yeah, you're just like, no, fuck the world. I'm taking as many cunts with me.
That is like the nihilistic solution to the trolley problem. Call back to Nietzsche. But yeah, so
I mean,
And-
I believe the correct answer to the trolley problem is because you control the switches. If you can jam the switches halfway and you just jump the tracks, no one dies.
That's true.
All you have to do is hit it. That also, yeah, you could kind of, even with a slight turn, you can still kind of jump the tracks. See, all you got to do is just jump the tracks, and you win.
Yeah. Hey presto, I am absolved of any wrongdoing.
I mean, the resulting train accident may end up taking out all of them, but I mean,
You know, it was no longer your
I-
decision.
yeah, you tried
As
to
it
not
were?
kill them, opposed to
Yes.
the
You
actual
actively
trolley
tried
problem
to- Yes.
where you are still killing someone. In this, you're trying to not kill someone, and I think
Yes.
that absolves you of your sins.
Fair enough. So yeah, anything else? Any other future predictions you wanted to add before I begin closing?
Well, I do have a question. In what do you think your good place would smell like?
Coffee and books.
Coffee and books.
Yes.
So, okay. So
Again, hence why my good place would be a cafe attached to a massive library.
yeah, but you're not going to have like, I suppose, not everyone likes the smell of chlorine and puke. I mean, I think very
No.
few people do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, because I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe like I quite like the smell of ammonia sometimes. Like, there's a lab chemical that I actually enjoy the smell of.
Okay.
Because it makes me feel quite not at home, but what else is there?
If
Just
I'm-
those
okay.
terrible chemicals. Oh,
If I'm going
organics.
back to
Organics. Oh my god, I
mate.
love the smell of organics.
mate.
Like sweet.
If I'm going back to
organics.
my if I'm going back to my STEM days, research days, xylene.
Yeah. As deadly as it is. Man.
It is a nice smell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're slowly you're slowly preserving yourself from the inside out. But
Just-
my god, xylene is a
Just keep that butric acid away. That's the one thing. Have all the chemicals but butric acid. That stuff, just peg out windows, yo.
but yeah.
Which ironically I think would be the only chemical Eleanor would like the smell of.
Probably. There's a good chance.
For the non-STEM boys, it pretty much just smells like rotting meat and vomit and
Yeah.
all those disgusting pungent smells. Even a small amount can gas out an entire lab. Just opening up the bottle and that lab is ruined for the next hour.
Yeah, that's why you put them in ventilation hoods.
Yeah, but for first year labs, they don't, because they want you to suffer.
Oh my god. Why? Dear. I guess I have one more prediction. I would like to see long boy Larry Hemsworth make an appearance somehow next season.
Technically, that could be an antagonist for Jason.
Yes.
Like-
yes. Because what Larry would see is that Jason is the reason he and Tahani broke up.
Yes.
But
Then do we have the same issue as we have with Simone? Where he would have too much...
Where
Oh, no.
Tahani...
No, because... I don't mean with Tahani, just with Larry. But he didn't know that much.
okay.
Like, Simone
No, he
knows...
didn't.
Simone knows a lot
A lot
about
more.
the near-death experiences and
Yes.
how... But, I mean, as far as Larry knows, they went... Actually, well, no, because it's obvious that they died in Canada.
Yes.
So, because John knows that. So, yeah, maybe a Larry Hemsworth.
Maybe.
That would be
It'd be
interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So,
No,
yeah.
I mean, this isn't much of a prediction, but I think we have a bumpy road ahead of us.
Oh, hella bumpy. I foresee conflict and discontent
Between everyone.
throughout. Yeah, between everyone for at least the first 7 episodes.
So I was going to say at least two, at least the first 2, but...
No.
But
This
yeah,
is
I think they're only going to get worse. I think the first 2 is going to be like big Eleanor moments of her trying to deal with Sheedy,
yep.
but
After that, who knows?
so far as we know. Oh, actually, I only just thought about this. Imagine if, because it happened before, if Cheedy and Simone get together.
Oh,
That's going to happen. That's my prediction. Cheedy and Simone get together.
Okay, that will be interesting.
Oh my god, no! Don't do it. That's gonna hurt. That's as much as I love them as a couple as well.
It will hurt.
Oh,
Eleanor.
that's gonna hurt, especially after Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Oh man, why did I just think of that?
Because The Good Place is the smartest, dumbest show on earth right now. God. Anyway, we'll start closing off. So what we'll do is we'll do a little segment we call What's Good. We are taking this from The Good Place, the podcast. It's a segment where they get people to talk about what's good in their lives. Shout out any organizations that they're supporting, or just anything that they found in their life that's good. Nick, what's good?
Because this is our 5th episode, I was running on blanks. So,
Okay.
I instead asked my mother, Mum, what's good? And she said cheese. She says cheese is good. Cheese is a good snack. You can pair it with biscuits. You can pair it with olives. It's tasty, it's salty, it's sweet. Cheese is what is good.
Okay. No cheese in particular?
No, she's just...
Okay, just cheese in general.
She loves all the cheese.
I see.
I myself
see.
fucking hate cheese.
Not because you're lactose intolerant or anything. It's
Well,
just you
yes,
have a
it's mainly just the lactose intolerance.
I see. What's good, eh? I might do a Mike Sure and do multiple what's goods. So in the realm of crisis support organizations, I believe Q Life is good. Q Life is an Australian crisis support service that is specifically created for the LGBTIQA plus community. They are basically counselors. They work much like the 1-800-RESPECT team, the people that also run Kids Helpline, Lifeline, those sorts of things, but for specifically the LGBTIQ plus community. For anyone that is listening from the community, if you ever feel the need like you need to talk to someone that is from that community or is an ally of the community, definitely go hit them up. You can just Google their contact number or, web chat function, because web chat is also a thing nowadays. People don't necessarily like to talk on the phone with someone, so, web chat also. So Q Life is good. Yeah. In the realm of people on this particular show that I love, Manny Jacinto. Not just because he's Filipino, although that has a lot to do with it, and the fact that he's very attractive, but also the amount of humor that someone that can convey through their face alone is good, and able to keep just there's a lot of things that Manny has done this season, from the teary like farewell to Chidi in this episode, and then him and Eugene Cordero, or Pillboy, doing the 23-step, handshake, secret handshake that they do. And like from previous seasons, he does so much just in facial expressions alone. And the fact that, we're able to see Filipino representation on Western media, that is not something that I have seen in a long time. So yeah, in that particular realm, Manny Jacinto is good. Is there anything else that I would say? The one last thing I would say, Nick, I'm gonna steal yours, is yours from a few episodes ago, is Great Mates. Great Mates is good. We and I'm sure people will be dead tired of me repeating myself again, if they've listened to previous episodes, from my birthday episode a few months ago to the Q&A episode that I did, Let's Get Deeper. Go and listen to that mini series as well, which we premiered earlier this year. Great Mates are good, and just because they were crazy enough to say yes, but also we are a crazy supportive group of people, very diverse, with not just in terms of personal identity or what we do, it's the ideas that they bring forward and the relationships that we've had. And yeah, Great Mates are good. So Nick, where can people find you if people want to find you?
People can find me at Nick Landcroon on Twitter and Instagram.
Sweet. And you can find me basically everywhere as Abang Pinoy, ABANGPINOY. Come and hit us up either on our socials. If you want to find out what the other Great Mate socials are, listen to our previous episodes and find them in the descriptions of those episodes. Hit us up on our podcast socials. We're found on Instagram and Twitter, Great Mates Podcast. Feel free to send us questions there, leave your feedback, interact with us. We really want to get more interaction, especially in the next as we come up to season 3 of Great Mates. Feel free to sub to us on any podcast platform that you listen on. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, TuneIn, basically everywhere you can sub to a podcast. We should probably be there. If we're not, let us know and we'll do our best to get us on there. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes, and let us know what your ideal good place would be. So yeah, this is going to be it for this mini series and for summer. We will be, as you may have seen, we have announced that season 3 of the Great Mates podcast is coming very soon. So yeah, this is going to be it. We have had a lot of fun recording this mini series, the Let's Get Deeper mini series, and the summer episodes that we've had premiered this year in summer. But we're so keen to get back into regular podcasting. So that is going to be it for this mini series. If you do want us to do more, Kim's Convenience is definitely going to be something that we will do probably in the regular season, but we will be nice and wait for season 3 to officially premiere on Netflix to give our thoughts on Kim's, probably, Queer Eye. But if you have any other suggestions that you've heard us talk about, shows that you've heard us talk about, that you want us to go into more depth and do a little bit of spoiler casting, feel free to let us know. It's been fun. Thank you for listening. Share us to your friends. So there is one other thing that we will do. Well, 2 other things really, that we've taken from The Good Place, the podcast. If you haven't, listen to it, go listen to it as well. And this is a poem that was written by Emily Dickinson. It's called Parting. My life closed twice before its close. It yet remains to see if immortality unveil a third event to me. So huge, so hopeless to conceive, at these that twice befell. Parting is all we know of heaven, and all we need of hell. Thank you for listening to us here on Spoilers for Days. As I said before, season 3 of the Great Mates podcast is coming soon, so get ready. And one more thing, Eat butt, you ding-dongs. See ya.
Bye.
Where are we going?